All right, welcome back to episode 5 of this godforsaken podcast. Still haven't taken off. I think we were at 6 views last time, which, I mean, we did beat the 5 before that, so that's something. But, yeah, this isn't going too well. I'm Gus Cousins, still here across from me. Ben, to my left, the administrator. All three of us are very tired, so we'll see how this goes. We may as well just change this whole thing to like a baseball podcast because that's all we really talk about for 80% of this stuff. But I guess we'll go through the other stuff, then get back to the baseball just like last time. So to run through it quickly, I guess the NFL is where we'll start. Last week, the Patriots lost to the Chiefs, probably the most important game within the last, half season, I'd say, because the Patriots finally lost 2 in a row. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, and the Texans lost to the Broncos, who are now tied with the Titans for first in the AFC South.
And then they play each other this week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tannehill
so that'll
and
be
Watson.
a good game.
That'll be a great game. Better be on TV.
Yeah, it should be. Is it a 1 o'clock
Yeah, it's a 1 o'clock game, I believe. But, yes, that'll be a good game. The Dolphins signed Devontae Parker to a 4-year extension through 2023, which is what I guess a lot of people kind of thought they were going to do because he's having a good season.
Having a good year.
4 years, $40 million, 21.5 guaranteed. It's probably good they signed him now because they didn't, and he was still under contract next season. But if they waited until next season and he put up the numbers again, he'll cost even more.
Yeah, so it's a smart move.
Yeah, that's a back-to-back weeks the Dolphins have signed someone. Before it was Eric Rowe, and now it's Devontae Parker. And the Cardinals released Terrell Suggs, who's definitely going to go into the Hall of Fame the minute he retires. But they released him. He can probably go latch on to a contender. He's definitely not who he used to be, but because he's 37 now and he's not putting up the same stats. For sure, he might go back to the Ravens because they can always add him, and he was where that was where he started originally, and everyone likes him there, so that might be something to watch. As we said, Week 15, the Titans play the Texans. That'll be a battle, for first in the AFC South. And I have a pretty good, I believe it's in Houston, but I think it'll be a pretty good game. I don't know what the spread is. I think it'll be close.
I don't know who.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be good. I'm a Titans fan, but I think it would be, I don't know. I don't know anything about that division. Like, aside from who else?
Like Jacksonville
is bad.
Indianapolis. Yeah,
we went into the season, and those are like I guess we thought it could be like 4 decent teams, because Jacksonville's just signed Nick Foles.
They just dwindled off.
Yeah, and then so 2 of them. But yeah, that should be a good game. The Rams play the Cowboys, 2 really underperforming teams. I believe that's 4:25 game.
Yeah, that's an important game for Dallas.
Dallas and the Rams, because the Rams are trying to keep pace, and Dallas is just trying to win a game every once in a while. Hopefully they manage to show something. Unlike the last 2 or 3 weeks, because that was garbage fire to watch.
Well, unlike the Thursday night game this week, where Lamar Jackson
destroyed the Jets. Ripped them apart. 16.5 spread, and he still beat that.
Yeah, what was it, like
what the hell?
5 touchdowns, I think?
5, I believe. Yeah, it was nuts. And then Robert Griffin he got some playing time as well, which is kind of what people thought. And the Jets are so terribly bad. God, a couple of the throws Sam Darnold made, because I watched just a little bit of the highlights. It was so ridiculously terrible.
And Le'Veon Bell is still struggling to.
Is he even back? Is he playing?
He played last game.
Oh, it was the week before that. He had the flu and went bowling.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what a messed up organization. And then the Bills play the Steelers, which is another important game on Sunday Night Football, which wasn't supposed to be on Sunday Night Football, but they bumped it there.
It got moved. I
don't even remember. I think it was it might have been the Rams-Cowboys, actually, that got bumped.
It was. I think it was.
Yeah, so the Cowboys played themselves right out of a playoff spot and right out of Sunday Night Football. It's like America's team, and even they're saying, all the big networks are saying, we'd rather see the Bills. And it's the first time the Bills been on Sunday Night Football in a long time.
Yeah, well, the Bills are looking for a bounce back after last week's loss to the Ravens, and the Steelers have been playing really well.
Yeah, the Steelers
I think they get
stayed in it.
James Conner and Juju back this week.
They're both back this week.
So that'll be
Devlin Hodges, Duck Hodges is still starting. I don't know if you can go. They're on a great run.
Their defense has been really good.
But I don't know if they can go with Duck Hodges into a wild card spot. I don't know. It's a weird situation because they're both.
Their defense has kept them in all the games, which has been really good.
So that'll be about it for Week 15. I mean, there's obviously a bunch of other games that just are kind of meaningless in the standings because, like, you got the Patriots playing the Bengals, and I guess the only thing to take away there is the whole Patriots. Some amateur scout asked some videographer to record signals.
I saw that.
Nothing really came of that yet, considering they play tomorrow.
Yeah, I think
that's so weird.
Yeah,
nobody's even asking, like, why do you need it from the Bengals? Because they're so bad that, like, nobody should need help. The Jets shouldn't need help with the Bengals. But then we know how that ended up a couple weeks ago when they got murdered by them. So it's so weird. And somebody has to get fired. Like, I'm sure they probably internally, like, just got
whoever said
reassigned.
What's happening is probably getting fired.
But, yeah, the Bengals?
Yeah,
okay, if it's the, like,
you'd think the Patriots would have wanted, like, sign stealing
the
last
Chiefs
week or whatever.
Or
yeah,
someone like that.
Chiefs.
But the Bengals? Come on. And yeah, so they play the Bengals this week. A bunch of other meaningless games.
Matchups, yeah.
Yeah, so, but after this week, it should be, the playoff picture is coming much closer now.
Yeah.
So we'll see
the last
where
sort of fight,
at.
I think, might be between Houston and Tennessee.
Yeah. And then that garbage Eagles division, which we'll have to wait and see, too. Because we can't even say it's any important or good game. I mean, they're important, but they're not good games because all the teams are bad.
Yeah, the Rams and Cowboys are just two struggling quarterbacks.
Yeah. If the Cowboys lose this week, which I think they probably will, that's going to be such a mess in that division. But anyways.
Yeah.
So that's about it for the NFL.
So on to the NBA. The Raptors have been pretty cold recently. Their recent loss to the Clippers in Kawhi Leonard's return home. He got his ring. All the players he played with came out. It was a good ceremony. Kyle Lowry gave him his ring. It was all good. I think Doc Rivers said after the game, like, it was one of the more classy.
Didn't show it on TV though.
Yeah, I know. Well, they showed part of it on TV. They showed, him coming out and Lowry giving him the ring, but the video tribute wasn't very. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but
yeah, it was just a compilation of.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
And stuff. Yeah, it was a nice touch.
What wasn't a nice touch is that then they went out after and
lost
got
by
smoked.
21, I think it was.
Yeah,
but yeah, they couldn't shoot. Van Vliet was still out. We'll see what happens. They're in Brooklyn tonight. Brooklyn's here tonight, and the Raptors are looking to get back on pace. Other news: Kevin Love wants out of Cleveland and wants to go to Portland.
Everyone wants out of Cleveland.
Where he's from. And obviously the Cavs announced they want at least a first rounder. I don't think they're going to trade Kevin Love. Just because he's that veteran guy. Rounder. But we'll see.
I don't think anyone on the Cleveland team is worth a first rounder. I mean, I can't think of. I don't care about the Cleveland Cavaliers at all. But Kevin Love's old,
their top guys are Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, and I imagine they'd keep Thompson, right? Just to have somebody. And if they trade Love, I don't know how old he is.
Actually, I think the Raptors were showing, interest in Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
But
okay, I can show interest in Tristan
yeah.
Thompson too. It means fuck all. So, I don't think that'll go anywhere.
So Kevin Love, I don't know. I think he'll stay. If not, if Portland is able to get him, good for them. I don't think he's worth a first rounder. That's a lot to give up for a team who's out of a playoff spot and probably will lose in the first 2 rounds at some point.
No, that's not very nice.
Harden became the first player to consecutive games with 50 points with at least 10 threes. So that's quite impressive.
Not to oversimplify things, but maybe teams should consistently double team that guy.
Yeah.
Unless they already do and he's just blowing past that. Everything everyone does is not working. So
the problem is you double team him, then someone else is open, and they have a quite good team. Like, they have guys who can shoot. Austin Rivers can shoot. They have Westbrook. They have Capella. It's hard to double team one guy and still keep everyone intact. Last night the Heat lost their first home game of the year to the Lakers. LeBron and Anthony Davis sort of kicked each other in the ass after the first half. They were brutal, and they both took over the game in the second half.
I remember when I said the Lakers wouldn't make the playoffs before the season as some bold prediction type thing. Man, was I wrong.
How wrong you were.
Yeah. I mean, the Lakers have sucked for so long. I just didn't care if they got LeBron or anyone. I just assumed they'd continue to be bad. And apparently, that's why I'm not in the NBA. Because I don't know anything about it.
Not yesterday, but the day before, the Mavericks played the Pistons in Mexico City.
Yeah. Did you hear Blake Griffin trying to speak? That was so
Doncic
bad.
was pretty good
Doncic
in the
was
intro.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Blake Griffin.
You'd think
he just
Blake
said hi or
you think it would be the other way around because Doncic just came over from Europe recently, and Blake Griffin's been in the U.S. for however many years. That was
anyway. The Mavs took the Pistons
agonizing.
122-111 in that game. Doncic recorded his second 40-point triple double. He's had an amazing year.
MVP.
Yeah. Serious consideration.
I'd vote him. I don't know who anyone else. I mean, obviously
Harden.
there are other guys, but I just don't.
Well, like Harden, Giannis, LeBron.
Nah.
Doncic, probably the top four.
Luka's gonna.
Actually, I think they did something and they had Siakam at 5.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
MVP race. It's like no, not gonna happen at all.
Siakam's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was it that skipped over Doncic? Was that the Hawks? There was some. I completely forget. Was that the Trae Young thing?
The Hawks traded Doncic for Trae Young.
Right. Yes, that was it.
Yeah. So technically they didn't skip over him, but they
had
did.
him and then they let him go.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Trae Young's
not
not
gonna
bad,
go
but I
down
think
to be
you'd prefer
awful.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah. He's not Luka Doncic, but he's not bad. He's
he's not
really good on a really bad
team. Yeah.
Who's like 6-20 or something like that.
Well, they'll have to get their act together eventually, right?
Well, I think John Collins is coming back off of his doping suspension. I mean, some people think, oh, he's good because he was doping. Maybe he comes back and he's trash. I don't know, but he's back on. I think he's eligible December 23rd for their game.
You know who else can come back on December 23rd?
Who?
Dion Waiters. Third suspension of the season, has not played a game already.
And they haven't even played 30 games.
No. Man.
Oh, what a joke. Anyway, not too much else happening in the NBA. Off to the NHL, just more coaching firings.
Have the Red Wings, that stat that 5 coaches have been fired before the last time the Red Wings got a win, is that still going? Or did the Red Wings get a win recently?
The Red Wings got a win. They beat Winnipeg.
Darn. Well, it was good while it lasted, right?
But
for everyone
with
else.
that, 2 more coaches being fired, so maybe with every Red Wings win, we get 2.
Maybe, yeah. The Stars let go of Jim Montgomery. Very sad about that. I like Jim. And nobody knows why, which makes it... I mean, I don't think we'd really deserve to know why.
Oh, we don't...
But hey, at least he didn't, do anything to anyone naughty. So, I mean, that's something. Maybe he just threw a chair at someone.
Unprofessional conduct,
behavior. I think somebody was pointing out saying, oh, it was probably he just bet on games or something like that. Which is, But Rick Bowness took over, who's coached before, or head coached before. They've been 3-0-1 since he took over, so that hasn't been bad. They lost their first game under him yesterday in overtime to the Vegas Gold Knights, so that's been decent. Jeff Ward in Calgary, who took over.
Yeah, I think he's 7-0?
7-0 or something insane like
anyway,
that.
Undefeated,
yeah, 7-0 because he was 6-0 before the Leafs game, and then the Leafs sucked, so they beat the Leafs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be. I don't know. I mean, that was totally different, getting their coach fired, but still.
Yeah. I think just new faces help. Like, the Leafs have looked energized. Teams have looked energized.
To an extent.
Yeah, well, compared to how they were playing with Babcock.
I mean, the Devils didn't look energized when Haynes or whatever the hell his name was, got kicked out.
Yeah, that's true.
They're still bad. Pete DeBoer got fired in San Jose.
Yeah, they brought Bogner
strictly
in.
a hockey decision.
Strictly a hockey decision. Make that clear. There
One
was
of
no
last
physical
5,
conduct involved.
Yeah, he was the only.
Yeah.
Out of the last 5 coaches, he was the only one that got let go. Apparently, anyways.
Yeah.
So 1 year after, weren't they in the Stanley Cup last year, 2 years ago, last year, something like that? No, it wasn't was it last year?
It was 2016 or 2017 when they lost to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Who was in it last year?
Last year was...
It was obviously the Blues. And who?
The Blues in Boston.
Blues in Boston, huh. Oh, well, anyways, they've had good teams and all that, so they kicked them out pretty quickly. But I guess that's what you got to do.
The Wild are still crawling, still 4 points out.
Brucey Boudreau's leading them back to a playoff spot, eh?
Yeah, surprising. A lot of people had the Wild in, like, the bottom 3 teams that were gonna finish in the NHL.
Yeah, right at back at the beginning of the season when people were talking about coaches to get fired, like back nobody had been fired yet. Everyone was talking about Boudreaux. It's like, oh, he's
Boudreaux.
gonna get canned.
Yeah.
And they stayed with it. They stuck with him, and now look what he's doing. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot, or tied for 4 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, and a few teams tied to Taylor Hall. The Devils kept him out of last game just for precautionary reasons.
Yeah, like they didn't think that would blow up online.
Yeah, and I don't know if it means anything. It was. You'd think when you're trading a guy to they played Colorado last night, and Colorado's been tied to him as a possible suitor. You'd think you want to show off your. I don't know. There's 2 ways to look at it. I guess you don't want him to get hurt, but you also want to make him look as good as you can and get as much as you can back.
The stupidest goddamn Taylor Hall rumor I've heard recently is that John Klingberg for Taylor Hall. That's the dumbest trade rumor I've heard in quite some time in the NHL. What the hell? Their team, it's like, the Coyotes are interested, the Blues are interested.
Right now.
Why would you want
for another
Taylor
winger?
Hall? He doesn't. I don't think they have any cap anyways. I don't get it. That's just stupid though.
Yeah, that would be dumb for both teams.
Yeah.
But you can get probably. I mean, the Devils need prospects, so I don't know why trading for Klingberg would be a thing, and I don't know why Dallas would.
Yeah, it's some joke reporter probably just.
Top
I don't
defenseman
know.
on a. Yeah, well, Coyotes are interested. Avalanche are interested.
Blues,
basically, yeah. Any team with cap room who's in playoff contention would be going after Taylor Hall. I guess. I thought maybe it'd be interesting if we went back to Edmonton. I don't know about that.
Thanks. No thanks.
I could see it happening. Yeah, St. Louis would be interesting. Pittsburgh. Other news: Oscar Lindblom was diagnosed with cancer yesterday. So
that was
best wishes to him.
It's like 23.
Yeah, he's really young, and he was playing well too.
Yeah, he was on pace for like a 30-goal season. I read
Yeah.
somewhere, so that was disappointing. But I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Other streaks. The Bruins are on a 5-game losing streak. No one's really been talking about that, and I mean,
no sympathy.
They have faced a few good teams. I mean, in the 5 losses, they lost to Colorado, Washington, Tampa, but they also lost to Chicago and Ottawa. They're well up in first place, and they're probably going to finish in first place. But
I said it last time. Ottawa is grinding.
Yeah, Ottawa.
They
I said
are
at the
getting
start of the year that
points
Ottawa would be better than people thought.
Stupid places.
Yeah, and it wasn't even overtime win. Bruins got a point. Ottawa beat them, and they
Yeah, and they looked good doing
win.
it.
They looked better than Boston, which is interesting.
Those are one of those teams at the end of the season that if you're you're thinking just to take, it's a free 2 points. It's Ottawa in game 76 or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, Ottawa's the team
and then
that
they
can
come in and just kick
score
your ass.
3 in the first.
Yeah, it's they're one of those teams that can just totally rip you out of a playoff spot just
Yeah,
because they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, they're all young and they just all want to play.
Yeah.
And they don't really care if they win or lose.
Yeah, it's maybe they will be good. I don't know. I don't think they will be, but I'm just saying you gotta watch out.
Well, yeah,
for
in
teams
sports, sometimes the best winning mentality is to not care. As soon as you take all pressure away and all everything, and you just play, it's.
And Nielsen will make a 55 save game in the second last game of the season against Tampa or something stupid like
Brady
that.
Tkachuk will beat up 2 guys and Shabbat will score a hat trick.
Yeah, it'll just something completely ridiculous will happen like that.
Sort of it for the NHL.
We're on to my favorite part of the podcast, are we?
Yeah, Leafs finish up their Western swing tonight in Edmonton, and that's.
You know who was first off the ice yesterday?
Michael Hutchinson.
Michael Hutchinson.
Don't think he's starting. They gotta ride Freddie.
If you say so.
They're not starting it at Hutchinson.
I want them to start Hutchinson.
Oh, I know you do. You want the worst for the Leafs?
No. Well, yes and no. I want Freddie to, or not Freddie to play. I want the backup to play. I want every backup to play.
You gotta wait for the next.
You know who Dallas is starting tonight in net?
Dobin.
The backup.
Well, they actually have a good backup, so they can do that without feeling like we're gonna lose this game. Who does Dallas play tonight?
I have no idea.
Oh.
No idea. None. Somebody. Everyone plays tonight, right? Or almost everyone plays tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of games. moving on to baseball news. We have lots of it.
Free agency part 2, eh?
Yeah, and trades.
Lot of stuff going
signings,
on.
everything.
A lot of stuff going on.
Take us away.
So a few trades just to start with, and then we'll get to the meat and bones of it with Garrett Cole and Anthony Rendon. The Giants got Zach Cozart and Will Wilson from the Angels for a player to be named later or cash.
I think they actually
the player to be
announced-
named later is Garrett,
Yeah,
some minor
I was supposed to
lefty.
say, I think they announced the player.
Yeah, Garrett's. Yeah, I have no idea
I think
his
it was
name.
a
but-
lefty pitcher.
Yeah, somebody like that, just
Yeah.
a minor leaguer. That was mostly, I think, a salary dump. Zach Cozart,
Yeah.
because he's getting paid too much and he doesn't play. Will
getting
Wilson
older.
was the 15th overall pick in 2019, so
Yeah.
he's already in a new organization. That's the salary. Like that's what the Leafs did with Patrick Marleau, giving up that first round pick. It's weird, but hey, I don't know.
Sometimes you got to dump.
Yeah, I guess the Angels dumped enough to get Anthony Rendon. But anyways, the White Sox got Nomar Mazara from the Rangers for Steele Walker, who was their number 6 prospect. He's an outfielder, hits pretty well. Mazara will obviously slot in right away in the outfield for the White
Yeah,
Sox. He's
probably play
24, he
right.
hits a lot of home runs. Yeah, that'll probably
Still has
take...
potential.
Yeah, Jimenez in left, Mazara in right, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, and I don't know who they have Angle right now. I think?
Adam Angle or someone, or
I
they
don't know.
could sign
He's
someone
fast.
as well.
He can play outfield.
Yeah,
a
and
little bit.
that's going to be, I think, a good hitting team. I mean, if Gianlito comes back with another strong season, I don't know, him and Lopez and whoever else they got
Yeah.
to throw in, they'll probably
And they
sign
still
a
have
pitcher.
thingy Kopech, right?
They got Kopech, who's going to come back from injury. Carson Fulmer,
Yeah.
they keep having him hang around. He hasn't amounted to much yet, but he's still young. They got a bunch of
I
young
don't know.
guys.
I think they're one Bumgarner signing away from being
yeah,
a good,
or somebody.
great team. Yeah.
Somebody. They just need pitching, and they could be good. As I said last week, there's way too many good teams coming up in the majors right now. Like,
Yeah.
there are very few really awful teams. So those were the 2 trades. The Yankees ruined everyone's day by signing Garrett Cole to a 9-year deal worth $324 million. So he's getting
Yeah.
paid $36 million a season.
And he's able to opt out after, 4 years, I think? 5 years?
After 5, he can opt out.
After 5
which
years,
he,
yeah, I think I saw that
depending
on
how
there.
well he does, he might choose to do that to try and get another big payday from someone.
Yeah, God. Imagine needing more than
Don't worry, the
$36
Red Sox
million.
signed Martin Perez and the Jays signed Tanner Roark. It pretty much evens out in the long run, eh? Jesus Christ. The Nationals signed Steven Strasburg to a $245 million deal over 7 years. So
I
they
think
got
that's
one of
good.
their guys back.
Yeah. I had a feeling they were going to get one, but not both. I mean, if you think about, they have to pay Soto soon.
The only thing with that is that he's 31. He's had a ton of arm injuries.
Yeah,
and
that
so
is
it's,
one
what's
thing.
7-year deal, so he'll be like 38, 39. Depending on
Yeah,
his
that'll be a
birthday is.
bad contract the last 2 years, I have a
Yeah,
feeling.
well, I mean, so will Garrett Cole, right? Because he's 29, but even that's going to be kind of near the tail end of it. You're going to be, it's like a CC Sabathia contract. You're going to be paying
And,
a guy to be
well,
a 5th starter.
It
Maybe.
is also the Yankees, who old guys seem to always come in and perform there. So
Yeah, I mean, what the
maybe
hell,
he'll
I
keep
guess.
going.
And
I
Steven
don't know. Who
Strasburg's,
knows?
I mean, he obviously did really, really well the last couple seasons,
Yeah.
so he was
Yeah.
going to get money from someone somewhere anyways. But they spent that money on Strasburg. They didn't get Rendon, who went to the Angels, as I mentioned before, on another 7-year, $245 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Angels have Trout, Ohtani, and Rendon. That'll be fun.
And Upton and
Upton.
Simmons.
And Simmons.
I think those are their sort of top
no
dudes.
pitching, though.
Yeah, no pitching.
Or bullpen.
None. Andrew Heaney, opening day.
Andrew, yeah. Or, they could sign Rear. Anybody could sign anybody, I suppose. But
Yeah.
Andrew Heaney did well
I
last
could see
year, too.
Keuchel going to the Angels.
Keuchel, yeah. Some lefty. Just they got to have... Is Heaney a lefty?
All the 3 sort of top dudes are all lefties. Ryu, Bumgarner, Keuchel.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. They got to sign
obviously
someone,
there's
too.
other guys, but
There's a common theme here that people need to sign pitching. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see where that goes. The Phillies signed Didi Gregorius for a 1-year, $14 million deal. He's just trying to get a bounce back because he
is
was
Gene
injured.
Segura gone?
New, I don't believe.
what's
Gene
happening
Segura will move to second base,
Second.
and Didi will take over at shortstop.
And then Franco's gone, so what,
Franco's
they play
gone.
Cesar Hernandez at third or something?
Cesar Hernandez got non-tendered.
gone
so
too?
he's gone too.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know the
I missed
ins and
that.
outs of the Philadelphia Phillies, but they have guys
Yeah.
that I'm just not thinking of right now. But they'll be fine. Segura could probably go to third as well. But $14 million for 1 year, I think he's just took. He apparently had longer deals that he could have taken, but he just wants to get back and try to get another big payday.
Well,
after
he did
this
come off
1
an
year.
injury last year. He only played half the year,
Yeah.
a bit less than half. So He's good.
Yeah.
Gregorius is good.
A lot of guys taking 1-year deals. The Dodgers signed Blake Treinen to a 1-year, $10 million deal. I thought that was really good. I
Yeah,
mean,
bolster
I
up
thought
the
anybody who got
bullpen.
Blake Treinen would be a good deal.
Yeah, just after last year wasn't
Yeah.
anything compared to the year before.
Well, he had half
but
a
I
bad,
think he's
like out of
still
2
good.
seasons, he had half of one bad season, and that was it.
Yeah.
And now the Dodgers got him and Jansen and Maeda if they use him there, and
they
Urias
still
if they
have
keep him
Dustin
there,
May.
and Dustin May
I
who
think they're
bounces
using him in
around,
the bullpen, yeah.
and Gonsolin and those.
So
They got
have
a really good bullpen,
yeah.
yeah. And I think Treinen will probably do pretty well in the NL
They'll probably
West.
use him in the 8th. He'll probably just
8th inning guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
when they signed him, people were wondering like, oh, is Jansen going to be the 8th inning guy and Treinen the
doubt
closer?
it. I doubt it.
No,
I
they
really
came
doubt
out
it.
and said that they're gonna use Treinen in the 8th,
yeah. Well, that
and
makes sense.
Jansen will stay in the
Figured.
9th. The Rays signed Yoshitomo Satsugo. I think I got that name right this time. Nod of approval. 2 years, $12 million deals with the Rays, so he's getting paid $6 a year. I thought that was pretty good for the Rays.
Yeah.
Apparently he got better offers, more money. Well, not better offers, but more money elsewhere, and he chose the Rays. I mean, it's respectable. He'll get a ton of playing time there, and he can pretty much do whatever the hell he
Yeah,
wants.
well,
They
and the
got
Rays
so many
will turn them
flexible
into
guys.
what they need.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause that's what the Rays do.
Yeah.
Is they take in these guys and just form them into what they need to do for the team. And
A lot of
they
home
do
runs
well.
in Japan. He can play corner outfield and corner infield. He'll obviously get
utility
the
guy,
majority
yeah.
of the starts, and it's exactly the type of player the Rays want because they love flexibility.
Yeah.
And he fits that scheme perfectly. I think he'll do really well. I was hoping the Jays would go after and get him.
For all we know,
maybe
they went
did.
after him and paid him more.
Exactly.
We don't
It's
really
one
know.
that's one of those where I'm not really upset about because it's up to the player to choose. And unlike a
Well, you
bunch
have to
of these greedy
respect their
Americans,
decision,
right?
right? I mean, if that's where
Yeah.
if that's where they
I
want to go,
respect his
then-
decision a hell of a lot more than a bunch of greedy white American pitchers. But
Yeah.
anyways, story for another day. The Rockies signed Scott Oberg to a 3-year, $13 million extension. He did really, really well last year. He put up like a low 2 ERA. And then there's an option for a 4th year for $8 million. I thought that was really good by the Rockies. He's not a closer, but he's a pretty good setup man. Versatile. He pitched about 80 some odd innings last year. I thought that was a good deal for them. The Mets signed Michael Wacha.
Yeah, they signed
their-
a pair of old starters.
Porcello and Wacha, yeah.
Yeah.
Porcello for 10, 1 for 10, and Wacha 1 for 9. And apparently they promised both of them they'll get starting spots, so that pretty much rounds up their
rounds
rotation.
up their rotation. Yeah,
And
Syndergaard, DeGrom, Porcello.
Steven Matz and Michael
Steven
Wacha.
Matz and Michael Wacha.
In some order. It'll
Yeah.
probably be Porcello at the end and Wacha at 4. The Brewers signed my boy, Josh Lindblom, to a 3-year, $9.1 million deal. He's, as I said, coming back from Korea, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys who come from overseas are kind of a toss up.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
when
$3
they have
million a year is
stats
not a
that
bad-
good,
Yeah.
like Tanaka did, you have to.
$3
You gotta
million a
pay
year
them
is
a
a
little
deal.
bit.
Yeah. The Blue Jays, as I mentioned before, signed Tanner Roark to a 2-year, $24 million deal. Not, I guess, the worst guy in the world, but also not the best guy in the world. $12
Yeah.
million a year.
Well, I don't know. There were sources were saying that they were heavily interested in Ryu, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess
I'm gonna
Tanner
give them the
Roark's
benefit of
decent.
the doubt until all the pitchers are gone,
I'm not.
and then
I think if
They
they
can-
don't get Ryu, they don't get anyone else. That's what I think. I don't think there's anybody else out there that they're gonna go as hard
yeah,
for
I
as
don't
they
see them
will
going
Ryu.
after like Bumgarner. I think Bumgarner will stay in the NL.
Yeah. The Yankees re-signed Brett Gardner to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Clint Frazier's probably very sad about that, and so is Mike
Yeah.
Tauchman. I don't know why. I mean, I guess was in New
But
York
he's
his
always
entire
done
life,
it for
but-
them.
Yeah,
Like-
but I mean, so Tauchman did it last year, and Frazier's done it everywhere. So I guess they'll just move Frazier. I mean, they've been saying that for like a year and a half now that they'll trade Clint Frazier, and they haven't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind him in Toronto, eh? They're not going to trade Tauchman, but they would trade Frazier. I bet they wouldn't because it's interdivisional anyways, but that'd be an interesting one. The
Yeah.
Rangers signed another pitcher, Joel Lee Rodriguez, to a 2-year, $5.5 million deal. He's coming back from Japan as well. He did pretty well over there, and that's why they're giving him another cheap deal. Josh Lindblom-esque, except just for one last year. The Brewers re-signed Alex Claudio, who was their workhorse last year,
yeah. I
to
was
a
just about to
1-year,
say,
$1.75
That's a really good
million
deal for the amount of innings. he
Especially
pitched.
after they non-tendered him, so they just
Yeah.
got him back for less, and that was a major league deal. He led the entire league in appearances out of the pen,
Yeah.
and he was pretty good for them last year. The Marlins signed Yimi Garcia to a 1-year deal. He reunites with Don Mattingly, who liked him when during his time in
Yeah,
LA.
that's what Puig wants.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that report.
Yeah,
but
that
he wants.
Puig is thinking about going to Miami.
Yeah.
He has family there. He is like his entire family lives down there. I think that would be a good fit because it's just another guy that you can just throw in the outfield because you have nobody else really to
You
play.
have nobody,
and he
yeah.
won't be the most expensive guy, and he'll probably want to go there because he enjoys that type of life in South Beach. So
He'll be their best player.
well, maybe. I mean, VR, they got guys.
I
But
don't
yes,
know.
he could be. If he went back to his LA ways, he definitely could be. The Brewers also signed Brett Anderson to a 1-year deal, which I really liked. The money hasn't come out yet, but I assume it won't be ridiculously expensive.
Shouldn't be.
And he was very consistent last year, went 13-9 with a decent ERA for Oakland. He's bounced around a bit. He was another guy I thought the Jays should maybe go after just on the cheap because he pitched in Toronto before, and he didn't hate it here, and he did decently here. But I thought that would be a good deal for the Brewers. I think he's an underrated guy he's not going to blow everyone away.
Yeah, well, he's not.
But he did very well in Oakland. Like 13-9, it doesn't look great. But his advanced stats have been pretty good over the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good deal for them. The Red Sox signed Jose Peraza to a 1-year, $3 million deal that pretty much replaces Brock Holt.
Yeah, I just about to say they got their second baseman for $3 million, which is pretty good.
If Dustin Pedroia is not ready, and he can bounce around too. I don't think Pedroia will ever get back, but people keep saying he's there.
Yeah. They also signed Martin Perez.
They signed Martin Perez here, $6 million deal. That was their off-putting of Garrett Cole going to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you got Martin Perez, I guess. The Diamondbacks signed Junior Guerra to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. He was on the Brewers last year. He, again, ate a lot of innings out of the pen. He was kind of their long guy. He did pretty well. The Giants signed Gossman to a 1-year, $9 million
that's a sad
deal.
one for me. I really like.
You like Gossman, eh?
Well, I just thought he was would be a really good fit for Toronto. I've sort of always liked Gossman.
Yeah, he's
like,
never
I always
done.
thought he's never done amazingly, but
I mean, he had one bad season. I was about to say he's never done terribly, but he had one really bad season.
By amazing, I mean
Baltimore.
no all-star appearances or anything. Like he's been a guy who you can throw out there and have a chance.
He'll
to
eat
win.
innings, and he's a veteran guy, and
exactly.
He's like another Matt Shoemaker
Yeah.
type of pitcher. The Tigers signed Austin Romine to a 1-year, $4.1 million deal. That'll just be interesting because him and Miggy will be in the same locker room now, and maybe they'll beat the shit out of each
I
other
didn't
again.
even think about that. You're right.
That was because they really went after each other, right? So
Yeah,
maybe they probably talked to Miguel Cabrera.
I
but
road tripped with my dad actually to go see a Tigers Yankees game, and we went the game before that happened.
Yeah,
so a little
that must have been
disappointing.
Yeah. But Roman wanted to get a start, like being in a starting spot, and he wasn't going to get that in New York behind Gary Sanchez, obviously. So now he'll get that chance. Seemed like a likable guy in New York. One of the best backups in the league, so he'll finally get a shot.
And to fill that spot, actually, I think.
God damn you.
The Yankees were talking about signing Maldonado and reuniting him with Cole.
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting.
And they have a couple guys in the minors, too. Like, I believe they re-signed Kahagashioka.
Yeah.
So, and he's played the majors before, so he'll be around. The Royals signed Jesse Hahn to a 1-year, $600K deal. Thank you for not cutting me off this time on my Jesse Hahn stuff. But they re-signed him after non-tendering him. Just another guy to eat innings. The Rangers did a weird one. They non-tendered, or they DFA'd and then non-tendered Jeffrey Springs, who pitched barely at all in the major leagues last year. Didn't do great. So they let him go. They re-signed him to a 1-year major league deal. So that might be their version of a 26th man.
Yeah.
And he's a lefty out of the pen, so he's usable. But it's weird because he didn't pitch in the majors. I mean, there's a lot of teams doing this where they're taking a minor league guy and just signing him to a major league deal. The Rockies did that. Other teams have done that. The Rays have done that too. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe they see something in Jeffrey Springs.
You never know.
I mean, I've never heard of the guy. But yeah.
I'm sure they know more than us.
The Nationals, doing what I just said, used an example for, they signed Kyle Finnegan to a 1-year major league deal. He'll be used out of their pen. He did really, really well in Oakland in AA and AAA last year. Hasn't thrown a pitch in the major leagues, but he definitely will next year. He'll be their 26th man probably. A lot of these guys are getting chances now, which is nice. I mean, obviously there should be more, in my humble opinion, but some of these guys getting their shots, it's good to hear about. A bunch of minor league guys that I'll just run through quickly. The Brewers signed Keon Broxton, or re-signed Keon Broxton because he was there before.
Yeah.
Never really panned out. He was one of their top prospects. The Mets signed Pedro Payano, who did decently in Texas last year. The Phillies signed Phil Gosselin. The Rockies signed Drew Butera, who to a minor league deal, but he'll probably be their backup catcher. They got Tony Wolters there, and they'll have Butera, who'll split some time. The Cubs re-signed Brandon Morrow to a minor league deal. He was off injured last year, pitched just a really small amount. But the year before that, he was an all-star.
Yeah.
So they're hoping to get him back on the cheap and have him out of the pen. The Tigers signed Jorge Bonifacio, who the Royals previously said thanks, go away. The Braves re-signed Charlie Culberson to a minor league deal.
Bring him and Dansby back together.
Him and Dansby will be back together in the major leagues at some point. The Twins signed Caleb Thielbar, who's a lefty reliever. He's done not a whole lot in majors, but he's done well in the minors. The Nationals signed ex-Blue Jay Javi Garrett to a minor league deal. They picked him up off waivers from the Jays last year. They used him a bit. I don't believe he was on the playoff roster, and then they non-tendered him, and now he's re-signed. The Angels signed Arizmendi Alcantara, who's, I think that's something ridiculous, like his 13th team in the last 5 years or something insane. He's never really done it in the major leagues, but everyone loves him in the minor leagues, apparently. The Marlins signed Gosuke Kato. I think I'm 2 for 2 now. He was an ex-Yankees prospect in the minor leagues. He's never really got a shot. The Angels signed Hobie Milner. Hobie was one of the Rays, weird starting pitchers. He was in that mess of a game against the Red Sox when they were throwing pitchers at first and in left field and all that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Everyone knows him because every time he throws a pitch, it looks like his arm's about to give out. His weird sidearm delivery and his whatever. But the Angels, he'll be in the major leagues for sure because he's been there the last couple of years. The Phillies signed Matt Caesar to a minor league deal. He's bounced around. He was with the Diamondbacks for a brief spell last year. The Blue Jays signed James Dykstra, who they heard about on Twitter. I think he was one of those indie ball guys.
Yeah.
And then some pitching account on Twitter posted a video of him, and the Jays are like, okay, we'll take a shot. The Pirates signed Hector Noesi to a minor league deal. That's a fake minor league deal. He'll be up. He's done pitched in the majors a lot, and he's started recently last year in the minor leagues.
Yeah, it's just a way to bring guys in cheaper.
Yeah, so he'll be in the rotation, I think, for sure for the Pirates. Adam Jones goes to Japan on a 2-year, $8 million deal to the Oryx Buffaloes.
I think that's good for him. Just a guy. He's getting older.
He's
probably
not going to
wouldn't
play
have
the
really
majors
found
again.
a home. Yeah, but still wants to play baseball. So
yeah, he had an extended
him.
Instagram post just saying his days in the MLB are pretty much done.
Yeah, starting his next chapter.
And $4 million a year in Japan's pretty good, and especially
$4 million
he'll
anywhere.
Get some well, yeah, but for him, and then it's a $5.5 million option for the third year, and then that can also be raised $2 million extra based on incentives on how well he does.
Yeah.
Chris Flexen, who was recently DFA'd by the Mets, he pitched to the majors a bunch last year, signed with Doosan for a 1-year deal. Angel Sanchez signs with the Yomiuri Giants for a 2-year deal. The money isn't known yet. He bounced around a bit. He was on, I believe, the Nationals. Nationals or Angels in the minor leagues the last couple of years. The Pirates a bit too, I think, but he never really got a shot anywhere. Drew Gagnon, who was also DFA'd by the Mets recently, signed with the Kia Tigers on a 1-year, $850K deal. Dan Straley, who had one really good year and nothing else in the majors.
Yeah, he was with Oakland, Miami.
Yeah, he was one of the weird Oakland pickups where they got
Texas?
him. I think Kansas City a bit too.
Yeah.
But he's bounced around. He gets a 1-year, $1 million deal with the Bears. A couple really, really minor league deals. The Brewers claim Ronnie Rodriguez off waivers from Detroit. The Orioles claim Marcos Dipland off waivers from Milwaukee. He'll get a shot. He was one of their top 30 prospects. The Rockies claim Tyler Kinley off waivers from Miami. Why in the hell anyone would want a pitcher from Miami, I don't know. But now they got him, I guess. They DFA'd Joe Harvey in a corresponding move. And the Mets DFA'd Chris Mazza. The Mets are just getting rid of so many relief pitchers from last year. And they're going to get rid of more if they get rid of Familia and all that. They can move his contract. Completing a couple trades, the aforementioned Angels got Garrett Reed. That was his name, a lefty minor league pitcher from San Francisco in the Zach Kozart trade. And to complete the Jerkson Profar trade, the Athletics got, that was really bad. The Athletics got Buddy Reed, who's an outfielder from the Padres. I'm being laughed at currently. He was one of their top 30 prospects the last couple of years. Your boy Bobby Wilson, big boy catcher who never really did anything. He retired. But he stayed around for a long time. He was
Yeah.
like another Jeff Mathis who couldn't hit for shit, but he kept getting called up to the majors because of the way he handled pitching staffs. But he retired. He had a nice career. He's going to be the Double-A manager for the Frisco Rough Riders with Texas. He spent a lot of his career in Texas, so that's nice that they offered him a deal. The Rule 5 draft came and went. I lost my mind when the Jays didn't pick anyone, which is completely ridiculous in my opinion. They lost 3 players. Danny Jimenez for the Major League Rule 5 pick. He's going to the Giants. I think there's probably a good chance they get him back because he was really a Double-A guy last year, and yes, he did very well.
Well, a lot of the guys sort of end up coming back. Like I think Jordan Romano was Rule 5
picked,
pick who
traded, came back.
Yeah.
Travis Bergen was picked by the Giants, came back. And then in the minor league Rule 5 pick, Jose Espada got picked. I believe he went to the Red Sox, and Brock Stewart, who was up for a cup of coffee last year with the Jays, got picked. I didn't even know Brock Stewart was still in the organization. I thought that it was just be another free agent guy, but what the hell do I know, I guess. The Blue Jays only picked one guy, which doesn't really count because it's a minor league Rule 5 pick. They picked Hobie Harris from the Yankees. He's a minor league pitcher. A couple other guys
I don't understand that
got
at all.
picked. No,
Why you pick a minor league Rule 5 pick and not a major, like, I don't
you
know.
had the 6th, what was it, the 6th or 7th overall pick, I think it was the 6th, and everyone before you took players, and a bunch of people after you took players. The Red Sox took a player.
I know.
And
It's ridiculous.
there's so many guys there that the Jays could have picked. Yeah, okay, Sterling Sharp was the main guy in the Rule 5 draft. He got picked by Miami. He's a starting pitcher. He did really well in the minor leagues. He'll get a start. He'll be in the starting rotation in Miami. So if that was your guy, and Miami had the pick before you and they picked him, okay, so you don't get that one guy. There are so many other
I know.
guys.
It's as if they walked into the Rule 5 draft with a list of one guy.
Yes, and it's such a terrible... And maybe it had something to do with Steve Sanders, as I mentioned last week, going to the Pirates, right? And they didn't have a director of scouting. But come on. Thomas Burrows, who was a lefty who threw hard. We went over this in weeks past. Zach Brown, who's the number 5 Milwaukee prospect. Somebody.
And
it's...
there's no negatives of...
No, in recent memory,
guy sucks,
B. Genie worked out.
Yeah.
Glenn Sparkman didn't, but I believe he was the same year as B. Genie. I think that was the twofer in 2015 or 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after 2014 for 2015. But, oh my God, why in the hell are the Red Sox picking a player that, at all, for any reason, when you don't?
I know.
The Red Sox, who are thinking they're going to make the playoffs. Yeah, they're trying to make the playoffs. And they're picking a guy. And the Jays, who are, I would say they're the worst team in the AL East, but Baltimore exists. Like, it's, even Baltimore picked someone, I think. I forget who they picked.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Baltimore didn't pick anyone, then, like...
Yeah, like...
The world might end.
Baltimore, Kansas City, I believe, picked someone. Detroit picked someone. Miami
Cincinnati,
picked Sterling Sharp.
even Cincinnati too, yeah.
All these guys. The Boston Red Sox. Like, it's ridiculous, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe they had their reasons. I always...
Well,
give
I'm
them
sure
the
they had
benefit of the doubt a little bit.
Whether it's a good reason
Whether
or not.
it's justified or not, I
Yeah.
guess we'll never know. But to go spend $12 million a year on Tanner Roark and then not pick anyone in the Rule 5 pick, like, what the hell? And then who was it? Shai Davidi or somebody tweeted out recently saying, okay, the winter meetings are, I don't know if they're finished completely now, but they're wrapping up. The Jays aren't going to deal with anyone in the winter meetings, for the rest of the time being down there. It's like, oh, that's nice. So you went down for a bunch of days, wiped your ass on everybody, signed Tanner Roark, skipped the Rule 5 draft, and said, no, we think we're good. We're not going to...
Yeah, I know.
And this Hyun-Jin Ryu stuff, okay, maybe they do sign him, but I don't think they will.
Neither do
and it's like you have a chance. I'm not even saying you have to get something done, but to hear this, oh, we're being aggressive, and this and that, and just consistently, every day of the week, and then you do nothing with it.
I know.
Flexibility, my ass. This isn't a cap league. What the hell? The Yankees have flexibility.
There's literally no...
Blew everything on Garrett Cole.
The worst thing you can do is spend a season just with money sitting around.
Yeah, because it's not like the NFL.
It'll all
it's not
come back.
like the NHL.
Guys' contracts end, and they're gone after the year. Like, you get money back. It's not
it's a joke.
Yeah.
The people in the NBA and the MLB have... It's amazing how many people have absurd amounts of money that they waste.
I know.
The Jays are paying Roark the same amount of money. The Miami Heat are paying... Miami Heat are paying Dion Waiters. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. And yes, it's
I
two
know.
leagues, and you can't really compare because they're two different. They play two different
It's different
sports.
money structures and different
Yeah,
contract type
but that's
stuff,
the point.
it's the same gist of
Miami blows $12 million on a guy who just got suspended 3 times and enjoys eating edibles. The Jays spend that same amount of money on Tanner Roark. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And they're like, I forget the exact number, but I believe in all of MLB, they're like they have the 4th most money to spend overall based on their
doesn't
current
surprise me one bit.
money spent.
Doesn't surprise me one
Which
bit.
takes into account the luxury tax. Oh, the luxury tax. And like you're going to get even close to that.
Yeah, they're not going to get close to the threshold at all.
That one, I forget exactly what he said, but that one garbage thing, Ross Atkins came out and he said, I don't want to disclose any specifics on, what we've offered to whoever because it could affect the market. Buddy, the market has been playing you for like 3 years now and you've done jack shit about it.
I know.
Like, it's easy to say, I don't want to talk about it. You say there's downside. We haven't seen it. We've seen you guys do nothing.
There's no
It's
downside when
insane.
you don't do anything. You can't.
I mean, I kind of get it, but after, let's say, Kyle Gibson signed with Texas, right? And it came out the Jays offered him a deal. Okay, maybe there's a legal thing where you can't really disclose how much money you'd offered him. But if you say, we offered him between 30 and 40 for X amount of time, at least then that you gave it a good shot. Like this Satsugo guy, who I like and he went to Tampa. But at least it came out to the general public that, he got offered more money elsewhere.
Yeah.
And he chose Tampa because he
Which
thought
is
it was a good
fine.
pick. Which is, again, totally fine. But everyone heard about it then.
Yeah.
They know that other guys offered him deals, and they know that they offered him more. Guys like Kyle Gibson and Tanner Roark, like, it's just insane to me. Let us know something of what's going on, right? Hell, I would just for interest's sake.
Yeah.
I would like to know what they offered Gibson. And I know they can't do it for guys like Hyun-Jin Ryu because he hasn't signed yet. Mm-hmm. But if you give us a ballpark estimate of, we're thinking about doing this for this amount of money, at least that gives us some hope. And then if they sign somewhere else, we realize, he just didn't want to come here, which is its own problem because Toronto's always been a terrible draw for free agents.
You can't even blame the players
No,
for
you
stuff
can't.
like that.
And the guys that they do get, like Donaldson got traded here.
Yeah.
And then he
Martin
left after
signed,
a while.
but that's different 'cause
Martin
he's
was
Canadian
the
and
most
all, and-
recent, big free agent signing.
Yeah.
Like before that, you got fucking Vernon Wells, who was here, and he liked it here. But he was like a 7-year, $120 some odd million deal.
Yeah.
I know that was like in 2007
It has to be
or whatever.
severe overpayment to bring guys in here.
I'm fine with overpaying for guys, but do it for.
Well, I'm fine with
Good
overpaying
guys.
as long as you have money.
I suppose, but so people were
Which they
saying
do.
that the $24 million they gave Tanner Roark was a bit of an overpayment, and he's a mediocre, he's a league average pitcher.
I would say it is overpayment, but you need pitching. I would rather them overpay for guys than do nothing.
Yes, I'm just saying. I think you should overpay for the right guys. I don't know how much the Brewers gave to Brett Anderson, and maybe Brett Anderson hates Canada. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe the Jays didn't offer him a deal because I don't think they did. But he's another example of some cheap-ass free agent who you have obviously a ton of money to use that you can go after and sign.
I know.
Brett Anderson did better than Tanner
And the
Roark last year.
The worst thing you can do is just release them if they're garbage, right? It's like, who cares?
Yeah, and but for guys like, I don't think the Brewers are going to release Brett Anderson, even if he does poorly. They'll probably just bump him to the pen. But I guarantee you, Brett Anderson is not going to get paid $12 million a year. And the advanced stats say that Brett Anderson had a better statistical season last year than Tanner Roark. Now, Roark didn't have terrible stats either, far from it, because he was a league average pitcher. He wasn't too good, he wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But Brett Anderson was just that much better than him. And they said, screw it, we're going to throw money at Tanner Roark. And maybe, as I keep saying, they threw money at a lot of people, and Tanner Roark was the only guy who said, okay, I'm going to Toronto. But to have us just guess, that's why people get so irritated, I find, because nobody really knows what's happening, and it leaves it open to interpretation, which is a nasty thing in a market like this. Like it happened to the Leafs, right? During the Steven Stamkos, right before he signed in Tampa, all this talk of, he's come back to Toronto, he's Canadian. I don't know if he was born in Toronto, but he was Canadian, and he liked the Leafs, and the Leafs are going to get him, and then it doesn't happen. yes, he's a much bigger name free agent, and yes, it's a different sport. But that's what happens when markets of fans get riled up because they have no idea what's going on.
I know.
It's not our job to, but you could throw us a bone every once in a while. Other teams do it. Like in the NFL, when they use the guaranteed money thing, like when I mentioned that Parker got $40 million, but only 21.5 is guaranteed, that money is out there right away. People, for whatever reason in the NFL, if you offer someone a deal, even if they don't accept it, it's always in the news. Like during free agency, you'll see lines scrolling across the bottom of TSN saying, this guy got offered $50 million for 3 years as an O-lineman or something from this team, and then this team has done that. Like, it gets out there. And
which helps.
Yes, it helps. And yes, the MLB is totally different because you have, I don't know if it's much richer than in the NFL, but it doesn't have a salary cap. Like, I'm not going to see someone in the NFL get paid $324 million for 9 years.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a gross overpayment, I would say, in 5 years if he decides to stick there, because he's going to be getting paid 36
already. No one in the world's worth $36 million.
Yeah, but the Yankees have a stupid amount of money and they use it. The Jays have a stupid amount of money and they use it on Tanner Roark. And obviously, Cole's an excessive example.
Yeah, well, no one expected Cole to come to Toronto. It's not that. It's just...
But it's just...
in general.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling that these things keep going on. And everyone hates Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro already. This is not helping.
Not at all.
Let's say, hypothetically, okay, they signed Tanner Roark, and let's say they signed some other starting pitcher, I don't know off the top of my head. Or even Hyun-Jin Ryu. Let's say they sign Hyun-Jin Ryu doing like a 2-year deal or 3-year deal. Next year, they suck again because everyone they expect them to suck. But they improve a little bit. Like, they get 75, 80 wins, let's say. They're about 500. Okay, that's fine. Year after that, they don't go anywhere. Let's say you have all these guys, and Ryu's in a contract year, and Roark's in a contract year if they haven't traded him already, and you got Biggio and Vladdy and all these guys, and Groshans is starting to come up, and the outfield's starting to take shape, and Grishik's still there. And let's say they don't take that next step forward.
That's essentially blowing up the team.
Somebody is going to look back on these last 2 years, and it's nice and easy for them management to say, you know what, we don't feel this is the year to go out and spend a lot of money. Or last year. And last year was different because they had more money in the books. But if you look at the free agent class over the next 2 years, in 2 years it's pretty good. Next year, there is next to no starting pitching. Like, there are guys... There is no Hyun-Jin Ryu, there is no Garrett Cole, there is no Steven Strasburg. So to say we want to save it for another year, okay, that means you're saving it for almost 2 years down the road, which is putting through one bad season, another bad season, and then hoping that you take off in the right direction.
And that's assuming they sign those good guys, too.
Yes, because we've gone over this. Toronto is not the most appealing place to come to, so it's nice to say save your money for later. Yeah.
But if you think about that, then they're going to have signed Bichette to tons of money. They're going to have signed Biggio to not as much money, but still money.
Assuming they're all still here and they're still doing well.
And Vladdy's still going to be making however much they signed him to, like whatever it was, $100 million over however many years.
We're talking years down the road now.
Yeah.
But for the upcoming guys, like Teoscar, who's going to be getting his contract done, obviously before Vladdy or Bichette, unless something crazy happens. Yes, you'll have money to spend on those guys, I get it. But you can see that coming. You can't look 2 years down the road and say, yes, some random pitch. I don't know if he's a free agent or not, but let's say years down the road, Lucas Giolito somehow hits the market. I doubt he will, but he's just an example of a guy. You can't look at that guy and say, we're going to give you a shit ton of money. You
can't forecast bringing guys in, but you can forecast keeping your guys.
He can very easily give him the finger and say, I'm going back to Chicago or wherever. And again, I don't even think he's a free agent, but it's a guy as an example.
Yes.
You can't tell whether a guy's going to accept a deal. And Roark's a league average pitcher, as I keep saying, so you can kind of, if you don't get Roark, it's not the end of the world. But 2 years down the road, when these guys are starting to hit free agency that you really like, if all of them say, thanks, Toronto, but we don't want to go to Canada for one reason or another, justified or not.
Which is fine.
Which is fine to an extent, but you got to put money somewhere. And Russell Martin was nice. He was Canadian, though. Vernon Wells liked it here. And he lived here for a long amount of time. And he still comes back up to Toronto every now and again to do stuff with the Blue Jays here and there.
Blue Jays camps and stuff, yeah.
But Vernon Wells is like the most expensive player that they've got in like the history of the franchise or something insane like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they have more money now than they did then. But the moral of the story is you got to use it.
You have to use it on a
guys-
year-to-year basis,
Yeah.
as opposed to just saying, "Oh, we're gonna not spend this year. We're gonna not spend the next year. We're gonna have tons of money, and we're gonna bring in this one guy." And then if they don't bring in that one guy, then it's done. Then drafting all these guys and signing Vladdy as a 16-year-old or whatever is just a complete waste.
Yeah, and again, if they don't take that next step forward next year, the year after, even the year after that, what a gong show that's going to be, right? Everyone's already calling for Atkins' head. Imagine then if they're like 3 years down the road and they're like an 83-win team. Like, it's going to be insane. And I hope to God they're not even around that long. But, if that happens, there's going to be like hell to pay. And I'm signing nobody doesn't help that, right? The Dodgers, we'll wrap this up soon, but the Dodgers, every year they sign guys for absurd amount of money. Right, like thinking way back when, like Ethier, who was a fan favorite, and obviously everyone was telling them he's gonna go down a dark path and he's not gonna do as well. But they signed him, and that was one of the Guggenheim Group's first moves to try and keep the fans interested. They signed guys like that. They brought in
Like Adrian Gonzalez,
and Crawford, even, which
Yeah.
was I believe that was the management group. That was a new management group.
yeah,
So they were
it
trying
might
to
have
make, that was Magic Johnson, all those guys. So they were trying to, make a pitch to fans to say, hey, we're in it for the long haul and we're going to sign these guys. Now, obviously, Toronto's not LA, but the theory of giving fans someone to cheer about in the near future that is a free agent, because Andre Ethier was going to be a free agent. Carl Crawford was a big name guy at that
Yeah,
time.
at that
He wasn't
time.
working out in Boston. Adrian Gonzalez was one of the best first basemen around.
in the league.
Yeah. And they brought in these guys. Now, I don't expect the Jays to do that. But you can't put your faith in Tanner Roark.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Even Hyun-Jin Ryu. I
Well,
hesitate
Hyun-Jin
to
Ryu's
say
closer, but yeah.
he's closer, but he's in his 30s. You can't say he's going to be the face of the franchise, pitching-wise, I'm talking about, over the next couple years. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens because free agency is still going. But I don't know. It'd be a great early Christmas gift if they could sign someone, not half bad. That isn't Tanner Roark. Like,
We'll see.
Roark, Anderson, Chase Anderson,
Baraki,
Anthony Bass. 3 guys.
Anthony K.
No, I'm talking about guys that they brought in. 3 guys
I thought you
they
were talking about the
paid.
rotation.
Anderson, I think, got a arb right, so I don't know what they're going to pay him. Rourke's $12 million a year, and Bass is 1.5. Those are 3 of your starting rotation spots. And
I don't
Matt
think
Shoemaker.
Bass will make it, but
Well, Bass you can't. I don't know. He doesn't have any minor league options left, I don't think. So they can either cut him and eat the 1.5, which isn't a big deal.
Well, I doubt they're gonna have K in their rotation. They're gonna have Baraki. They're gonna have Chase Anderson. They're gonna have Roark and Shoemaker. I don't know if he beats out those guys.
I don't know if K's even going to start the majors. But my point being is that you got, like, even Martin Perez, I would have preferred over, like, Tanner Roark.
You also got guys like Nate Pearson who will be fighting
and you
for
got to
a
find
spot.
spots.
Yeah.
So it's
you can't just not pitch. Like,
Yeah.
If you bring up Nate Pearson, he has to be in the rotation.
Yeah.
You can't just bring up top prospects and throw them in the bullpen.
And I have a feeling, like, when they signed Shoemaker, it was under the impression that, okay, well, he'll pitch well, and then we'll deal him at the deadline. And maybe that'll be the same thing with Tanner Roark, right? And Shoemaker again this year, and then you have more spots.
Yeah.
But you can't bet on that. You can't bet on that.
Especially last year, like, even if they wanted to deal him at the deadline, he's hurt.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can't project injuries. You can't.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a waiting game, right? It's been a waiting game for, 2 or 3 years now, and nothing's really come of it. So maybe something will come in the next couple weeks that we can talk about. But I don't know. It was extremely disappointing, the Rule 5 thing. I love the Rule 5 draft, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. Thomas Pannone is better than Thomas Burrows, apparently. I don't get it. Where the stats don't say that at all. I just don't see it. I don't think Thomas Hatch is going to be a great reliever that they for when they got him in the David Phelps trade, and he's now on the 40-man. Like, he's taken up a spot. So what the hell do I know? But
well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess. But what a disgrace of an organization the last couple of years. It's not fun to watch. Anyways, that's it for this one. We'll be back for one more before Christmas, and then we may or may not take a week off on hiatus. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Hopefully we get more than 6 views this time. Wouldn't that be nice? There's my Christmas wish. have a decent video just like the first one. Anyway, so that's it for this one. Thanks for listening.